Hi, everyone. Good morning. As you're joining, as always, if you wouldn't mind putting your name and affiliation into the chat, and we'll get started here in just a moment.
Hi, Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Matt.
I'm
You
ready
ready?
when you are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today, we are in store for a great presentation from the EDA. But before we begin, I'll pass it to Matt for some updates and announcements. Matt, the floor is yours.
great. Thank you, Michelle Burris, super BFF from the Century Foundation, one of our many partners in this good hard bottom up work. This is AMCC's National 30-minute call every non-holiday Monday, same time, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, and 8:30 Pacific. Giving systems leaders like you who have some kind of role in the manufacturing ecosystem a chance to briefly check in, build and strengthen relationships, share stories, best practices, develop strategies, take actions and events and activities that lead to what we hope are increasingly better structures within the American project. So we have more sustainable development now and in the coming years. Sustainable development is our North Star. It's our North Star for our work. It's like the why, if you will. The what is strengthening priority manufacturing industries. So we have long-term American prosperity at home and a thriving example of democracy for those around the world. There's several ways to categorize priority manufacturing industries. We do it tethered to the White House supply chain report from 2021, defense, energy, transportation, agriculture, IT, and health. Then kind of the third lens, the how we help regions is by focusing on the big six, the six parts of the ecosystem of support that manufacturing communities need to thrive: workforce, infrastructure, site development, supply chain support, research and entrepreneurship, trade and international investment, operational improvement, and capital access, which gets us to the when, the fierce urgency of now that we all have, competing with dictators and thieves, figuring out how to work better together as systems leaders to move way farther, faster than what our kind of traditional democratic market system has allowed us to do in the past. So you can check out lots of our material on our website, americanmcc.org. We have a podcast. You check out Ray Zaganto from one of our MEPs, the one in Illinois called IMEC. Ray talks about the fifth industrial revolution, how speed and scale matters, and lots more. So check that out. David's dropping stuff in the chat, undoubtedly, which I hope you're putting your name and your contact info in the chat. We're making some movement, turning the ship of state, Admiral Whitney's on here, it's like, moving an aircraft carrier. We're turning toward that North Star of sustainable development, which is cool. You see it in the CHIPS and Science Act and elsewhere with more investments in these bottom-up efforts that incentivize diverse, regional stakeholders to come together, becoming systems leaders themselves. And so, each one of these bottom-up incentive programs coming out of the federal government are great, but they're still short-term single agency interventions. Progress for sure. And each one of them can matter a lot in building a regional culture of collective impact for sustainable development. So it's good. It begs some important, set of questions that we'll be talking about at the December Manufacturing Momentum Summit, which is going to be in DC, December 12th and 13th, with leaders from regions, agencies, other feds, states, think tanks, et cetera. It's going to be a great opportunity to talk about where we are and what's next. So we've been getting incredible support for it from NIST and other agencies and regions, and we'll be announcing soon how you can attend either virtually or in one of the limited in-person spots. So more to come on that. But today we have a presentation about one of those bottom-up regional investments. This time it's EDA's Build to Scale announcement, and Amanda Costi will talk in a bit about this $50 million Build to Scale opportunity. But what we've been in the habit of doing is turning to you really quickly up front if there's any new people that want to introduce or people that have been on before that want to quickly reintroduce themselves to say hello, where you operate in the manufacturing ecosystems of support. This would be your opportunity to do that. So let me stop here and see if anybody wants to say, hey. Anyone? This is good. This is really informal. This is easy to interact. You can.
Real
Oh
quick
yeah,
question.
Sahija. Yeah.
Jim Lochner from the
Oh hey
Manufacturing
Jim. Yeah.
Alliance, Southeastern Pennsylvania. I put in chat, but has anyone run into having electricity distribution issues, either to a new facility or an expanding facility, because it's becoming a problem here?
So, guys, it's Kevin Ross from Accenture Consulting. I was at a conference last week in Austin, Texas. It was a data center conference. Power is a huge issue across the nation, mainly because data centers are consuming all the energy. The AI workloads are almost an order of magnitude bigger than what they were before. You have data centers that are going from 50 megawatt demand to 300 megawatt demand. So demand is everywhere. So obviously on the manufacturing side, you're going to be competing for the same energy. I understand PJM has an issue. They're retiring, I think, about 40 gigawatts of production over the next 3 to 4 years because they're transitioning to more modern technology. So that puts another dent in the total demand. There's a big focus on nuclear going forward. Advanced nuclear utilizing existing facilities and what they call small nuclear reactors. So happy to share more information about that if anyone's interested.
I put
That's
my
awesome.
email, Kevin. If you could send me or put yours in, I'll connect with you offline. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Kevin. Sahija. Yeah. Welcome.
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Good.
So happy to meet everyone here. My name's Sahithya. I got connected to Matt a couple weeks ago, and we grabbed coffee yesterday. I'm based out of Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, and I'm the CEO of a company called Endeavor, named after the NASA space shuttle. We do AI for manufacturing. We help manufacturing enterprises integrate AI into their operations. And yeah, new to this, and so I'd love to connect with everyone. Here's my LinkedIn, just sent it in the chat, and excited to continue the conversation here.
Great. Thank you and welcome. We also want to remind folks about the AMCC update that goes out every week. Get that out to your networks. It's free, open source, just a no-brainer to help systems leaders across the country get relevant info they need to move farther, faster. Yeah, Eric.
Just a quick question. I am looking for origin stories. So if you would be willing to share the history of the birth of your cluster, I would love to be able to talk to you about it. I'm putting him an email in the chat. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Eric. I was talking about the AMCC update. So, a lot of what goes into the AMCC update comes from you all, and David does a great job in putting that together, updating it every week. There's funding opportunities, reports from think tanks. In this last one that dropped on Friday, it's every week, either Friday or Saturday, it comes out. There's a FEMA resiliency guide. They've got some upcoming webinars. We've talked a lot about the FEMA model for bottom-up regional interventions. That's pretty cool. DOE's got a manufacturing capital connector platform that connects companies applying to DOE administered clean energy manufacturing programs. Poke around with that. That thing is really interesting. Yeah, stories from our defense manufacturing communities in Mississippi, lots of good info in there. And so keep, if you see something that's going to be important to the American manufacturing ecosystem and manufacturers, please let David and I know so that we can look to weave it in. So anyway, let's now turn to the big news from last week. EDA's Amanda Costi is here to talk about the $50 million build-to-scale opportunity that now accepting applications, maybe 40 to 50 awards for 2 to 5 years starting in 25. One of the cool things, Amanda, I saw in there is the competition gives points for success in other bottom-up investments, which to me is like at least some recognition of what all these regional leaders have been saying to AMCC for years, is that we need more kind of regional coordination amongst these siloed federal interventions that land in regions. So Amanda and team did a webinar with SSTI last week on the overall program, but we're psyched to have you here today, and welcome. Tell us more. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Costi. I'm the program lead for the Build to Scale program. So I'll just take a few minutes here today to just share information that before I started EDA, there was somebody from OIE who used to always go on stage and say, we have money, we have money. So I'm excited to be the we have money person today. So I'll share a couple of quick slides from last week's presentation, just for those who weren't able to capture the full thing. If that's okay, let's see how this goes. All right, is it going? All right, there we go. So it's just some high level notes about the Build to Scale program for those of you who are not familiar with it. I'm actually gonna go to this slide first. So the Build to Scale program is a program that's really designed to support entrepreneurial support organizations. What we're really trying to do is build public and private capacity for entrepreneurs and innovators and accelerate the growth of regional economies, things that you're all very focused on doing. And really focus on expanding that capacity, empowering communities to get to commercialization and provide assistance to technology innovators and entrepreneurs, and equitably and inclusively increase access to capital for tech-based entrepreneurs. So how we're doing that is we have $50 million available. Applications are due October 28th. And we're expecting to make about 40 to 50 awards. The expected amounts of these awards will span from the low hundreds of thousands to a maximum federal share of $5 million. So we've increased the top line this year. We've heard from you all from past projects. This is our 11th year running this program, that people want longer time spans and more capacity building to operationalize their ecosystems and what they're doing in this space. So we've increased our top line this year to $5 million. The thing that's really important that you know about this and applying for a Build to Scale award is under our statute, it requires a 1-to-1 match. So for every federal dollar you request from us, so let's say you request $1 million from us, you need to bring $1 million to the table in terms of eligible match. That can be cash, that can be in kind, it can be from a third party, it can be applicant led, whatever works as something that would qualify under federal share qualifies under match share. So we do have that 1-to-1 match requirement that does need to be unencumbered, committed, and available during the period of performance of the grant. So again, what we heard is people want some longer longevity of their Build to Scale grants. So previously they capped out at 3 years. This year we expanded it, so you can apply for periods of performance from anywhere from 24 to 60 months with an estimated start date of winter 2025. When we say winter 2025, I think we need to change our talking point here. People keep thinking we're saying December 2025. We actually mean like January, February 2025. So just around the corner. I can't believe we're already about to jump into fall. So again, what we're looking to do, and this is an important clarification, is that we are not funding startups directly. We're really funding the ecosystem. So we're looking for those, what I call entrepreneurial support organizations. So the ones that are working with the founders, the entrepreneurs, the tech startup companies, and really focusing on operating initiatives to unlock capital, to focus on operationalizing an acceleration of growth and commercialization in your region. Here's a quick list of eligible entities. Again, we're not able to provide assistance directly to individuals. We also are not able to fund for-profits under this NOFO. So just, make sure. But there are some interesting kind of eligibility we have here that we don't have under some other EDA programs, including venture development organizations and public-private partnerships. And then I just want to skip really quick to this slide here, and then I can take a couple of questions. But this year we did something different. So those of you who have been around EDA for a while are probably familiar with the Build to Scale competition. In the past, we have actually had it split into multiple competitions under one program. This year, we did something different. So instead of having what was formerly known as the Venture Challenge and the Capital Challenge, one focus on incubation acceleration, Capital Challenge focus on access to capital and establishing investor education and angel groups and things like that. What we are looking for this year is to combine all of those aspects into one program. So it is no longer 2 competitions for this year. It is 1 competition with all the same eligible activities. Again, with the ultimate goal of strengthening U.S. economic competitiveness, enhancing commercialization, and addressing remedial structural barriers to access to capital in an equitable way. So those are kind of the big changes to this year's competition. The full NOFO is online. There's a longer version of the webinar that we hosted last week that is now available. I'll drop the link in the chat for the Build to Scale. We're putting out FAQs hopefully today, and some additional resources, templates, things like that to support applications. And I'll drop our contact information in the chat. But I'm not sure where we are on time, but if anyone has a quick question, I can field a question or two as long as
Oh, no, this is great.
guys have
Thank you
time.
so much. Oh gosh, bring it on, everybody. Yeah. No, it's great. We have a lot of partners, and it's good to see. I'm coming back to that one thing I picked up from your webinar last week, Amanda, about, these other federal interventions and trying to get applicants to kind of look at what else is happening in their region from federal investments. Can you talk a little bit about that kind of the point giving thing?
Yeah. And I'll jump back to the sorry, let me find the right slide. I'm just clearly did not summarize these very good, so I'm just jumping around slides,
No, it's
trying to
cool.
find the
Yeah,
right one.
it's all good.
But
This is very
I'm
informal.
a visual learner, so I always like the slides. So this year, one of the other things we're doing, and I think EDA has, traditionally or in the last few years, really been moving towards this kind of area, is really looking at what existing assets are in your ecosystem that you can leverage. So some other changes to the Build to Scale program this year, our criteria has changed. We tell you upfront in the NOFO what we're evaluating you on, what the scoring is. And one of the things we're really looking at is kind of how are you leveraging your existing ecosystem? Saying like, how familiar are you with, the talent and workforce in your area? How familiar are you with existing assets? What is the potential economic impact, and can you get there? I think the biggest piece people miss points on historically has been in like the feasibility. I always say, this is a program designed to support entrepreneurs. And we really want to see, I always think of it like a pitch deck that a startup company would do to an investor, is we want to see that problem, that solution, and how you're going to bridge the gap between those things. But additionally, this year we have additional criteria that we can give additional points for those companies or those organizations that are part of a Tech Hub designee. So we have 31 designees under the Tech Hubs programs. In addition, for those NSF Phase 2 engine awards, that you get an additional 5 points if you are part of those existing ecosystem consortia, that sort of thing. And we have directions in the NOFO, but essentially what you need is a letter of support from the leadership of that Tech Hub or that NSF engine, confirming that you are part of those existing consortia and that work and that ecosystem building. So we're trying to really leverage our existing investments and make sure that we're supporting places. If you already have a Build to Scale grant and it is going to end soon, as long as you are closed or you are ended by December 1st, you can apply for this year's competition again. I know there's been we've gotten that question a lot as well. So I hope
Oh,
that
this
answers
is,
your question, Matt.
yo, no, it's great. It's great because I'm looking at like just who's on this call right now. There are lots of federal interventions that land in regions. I see Ron Kelly from Treasury and the SSBCI. I see Seth Eisenberg from the Department of Defense, OLDCC. You know, I see Sally Root from the National Association of National Governors Association. Like all of them are putting interventions that land in regions, and to give recognition to other efforts that have already happened in that regional ecosystem, I think is a good trend, Amanda, is what I'm talking about. It's something what I was referring to early on in our in kind of my windup today. So anyway, I'm sure it's hard, right, to put that together. And do you have any, you talked about those two particular programs, one from a different agency, which has got to be tricky, right? NSF, one from within the Department of Commerce in the Tech Hub program. Were you around the development of that idea? Or yeah, talk about that if you can.
A little
Yeah.
bit, a little bit, but I think what we're really trying to do here is, my personal unofficial tagline of EDA is that EDA is in the business of building ecosystems. So I think what we're really asking you is to really understand what ecosystem you already exist in, and to figure out, like, we want to make sure that our investment into your regional community to support our ultimate goal of building capacity for entrepreneurs is addressed, but also not duplicative of existing things. So we're kind of forcing your hand to be hyper aware of what's already going on, what your ecosystem already consists of, and things like that. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Questions for Amanda?
I don't know if you saw my question in the chat, but
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, Tulinda. Please go ahead, from Utah. Go ahead.
That's okay. It's similar to what you were saying. So I'm with Utah, and Utah has a EDA Tech Hub Strategy Development Grant. Does that count? Is that one of the ones that, I mean, it's not a Tech Hub designation.
Yeah.
We are working on it.
Yeah, for this, for the particular bonus points, we are actually looking specifically for the designees, so not the strategy development grantees. But again, one of the criteria we do have in this year is kind of additional commitments and like understanding. So, all that to say is you look around your ecosystem at some other projects and saying like, we're building off of these existing things. That's definitely not going to hurt you. One of the things we're looking at in this grant as one of the new evaluation criteria for this year is this commitments piece. And we're actually, I'm giggling because like I have somebody chatting me on the side with like our final version that we're going to put on our website very soon with some more additional guidance outside of the NOFO on what that looks like. But we're really looking to you to say like, here's some additional leverage, here's what's going on in our community. And that's something, although you won't get the tech hubs and NSF points, that's definitely something that would contribute strongly to your commitment score in a merit review criteria as well, is like acknowledging the other things going on in your area.
Good question, Tulinda. Thank you for that. Other questions for Amanda? Okay, not seeing any. Amanda, thank you. Thank you very much. This is great to have you guys participate in this and share more information about this NOFO. Oh, James, yeah, please, down in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. Yeah.
Yes, first, thank you, Amanda, for sharing with us this new program. I just had a question regarding the connection with the engine or with the hub. We have some other federal program going on in our region, but I just don't know, if it's mandatory that we have to link to the hub and the engine, and the other one not going to be considered.
It's so it's not mandatory. That is not a criteria of this program. It is not a Tech Hub specific or NSF engine specific program. It is, separate. It is under similar statute to Tech Hubs, which is, an easy correlation between the two programs. But all that to be said is you can't get the additional like bonus points without that association, but that doesn't mean your project is not competitive without it. We definitely are looking for, all folks who are interested, who are able to apply, who are really focusing on achieving these goals. So that's all to say you can still be competitive if you're not associated with one of those programs. And as I was saying before, for other funding opportunities, EDA funds, so many different things. And we understand that. We highlighted, 2 programs that are currently very like hyper aligned with what we're doing, which is why we're giving those bonus points. But in tandem, that shouldn't discourage you at all from other programs that are doing, that you want to build on existing investments. The biggest thing I will say is if you're building on existing federal investments or state investments, is to make sure it's not completely duplicative. So we don't want to be, funding the same thing twice. We want to make sure there's collaboration, but we're not funding the exact same thing twice. So as you're thinking programmatically through it, just make sure it's not completely duplicative.
Thank you.
Great, Amanda. Thank you. Any other questions for Amanda? Amanda, anything else you want to say to this august body? Yeah.
Applications are due October 28th. Please, if you're going to apply, start your application early. IT problems always come up on the last day. So please try not to submit on the last day. And, the first thing I would say is just, the most common mistakes we see in applications are just making sure your match is there. I know I'm harping on that, but I will say that has killed so many applications before. So just make sure you are very clear on that. And I dropped our email in the chat to our team's inbox. So if you have questions, we are responding every day. We're trying really, really hard to turn around, responses in a day or two as best we can. So make sure you reach out to us if there's a specific question you had. We'll be posting FAQs hopefully today or tomorrow, in which case, hopefully that answers your question.
Great. Well, thank you again. A hearty thank you, Amanda, and keep up the good hard work there. Before I send it back to Michelle to close out the meeting, is there anything else for the good of the order that anybody else wants to bring up? We had a couple of minutes. Great. Okay. Well, all right. Michelle, it's all yours.
Thanks, Matt. And thank you so much, Amanda, for the presentation. And I hope people will look into the opportunity. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. We will be back here the same time on Monday, September 30th, and wishing everyone a wonderful week. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.